State Senator Doug McCrory is here.
What's up, man? How you doing today?
Welcome to the show.
Man, thanks for having me. Always good to see you,
Thanks for coming, because I know everybody's busy. A lot going on.
Yeah, it is.
We're a little over a month in.
About a month in.
Not much has happened nationally or statewide. No, I'm just messing with you.
A lot of talk. A lot of talk.
How has session been going for you so far?
Well, you know, it's been going okay. Like typically, this is like my 10th term, so I'm kind of used to the first days. But you know, because of what's happening in Washington D.C., with the climate that we live in, everybody's a little more anxious than they normally are. So I kind of locked in a little earlier than I typically do during session year. So from day one, I've been monitoring things and checking budgets and having conversations with people to make sure we get to where we need to go. All our people in this state. So I've been kind of busy lately.
Because obviously it's February, it's Black History Month.
Yeah.
And education and Black History Month
side by side.
Go side by side, because if I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, I'm editing all of this out. If I'm not mistaken, Black History Month was created by a Black educator.
Dr. Kaji
and it was Black
Wilson.
History Week.
Start off with Dr. Kaji Wilson, the founder of African American history. Great man. Wrote one of the most important books that I ever read in my life, The Miseducation of the Negro. And what he said back in 1920 is very reflective of what's happening 100 years later. Mm-hmm. So he gave us the blueprint. Thank you, Dr. Kaji Wilson, and all the other historians that provide information for us to learn about our history and culture, which is nothing but Black history. If you talk about history in general, American history is Black history.
Yeah,
the stuff that happened between us with slavery, that was an interruption.
Exactly.
That's what it was about.
And my thing with Black history is, I was listening to an interview. There's a guy by the name of Neil Brennan. He's you know who he is?
Yeah.
So Neil Brennan, to the uninitiated, Neil Brennan is a comedian. He's the co-creator of the Dave Chappelle Show. He was also a writer on all that. And he had a podcast where he was interviewing Chris Rock. And he asked Chris Rock, what is Black history? And Chris Rock said it's a tragedy. Because it's just a story of Black people overcoming oppression.
Right.
We've never in this country been able to exist without oppression. So our story is pushing back against and persevering through.
Against American history, right?
Exactly.
How we survive American history. Black history is how we well, let's say this. That's the history of us here. But we have a history that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's funny because everything that was done to them was done to us. I'm talking about everything, from the gentrification, listen, we could talk about that for days, but I'm rooted, brother. I'm rooted.
How do we in a country that clearly hasn't moved on from that, make it a priority for people to at first have an awareness that, hey man, something's wrong here, and this education is gonna help everybody. How do we get to that point? Because it feels like we're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, you're right. Because the reality is we got to reconcile where we are and how we got to where we are. In this country. And until we have that open, honest conversation, not having a blame game, but understanding that how these things were created, how these systems in place were created to effectively support some and disregard others. From some of the policies that was made on a political level, whether it was from the federal level, from the state level, or the local levels. We talk about redlining, we talk about all those things, urban renewal, all those things that affect how we live today in the state of Connecticut. If people understood that, then I think people be more open-minded about how we need to work together, because if we don't work together, none of us gonna win.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to win.
The 1%'s winning.
The 1%'s winning.
Because we're not working together.
they create an environment where we fight over crumbs and they get everything.
Exactly. So it goes hand in hand with education, because I don't think bigotry can exist if people are aware that they're being bigoted, because they want to do it. You know what I mean? So
that's learned behavior.
But again, it's about lacking in awareness. And one of the things that I've been struggling with as I get older, as a Black man, is having conversations with other Black people, specifically men, that endorse ideas that run counter to what we need. So, we were talking earlier about Donald Trump wanting to dissolve the Department of Education.
Right.
I've had conversations with black people who are like, yeah, he should.
Like, yeah, he should. They don't do nothing anyway.
Exactly. They don't do anything anyway. All they do is take our money or different social programs. And it's like, well, it's welfare. Why should we giving people handouts? They don't work hard. How do we get the people in our community to understand, like, that's not what's going on?
Well, there's always been an internal war in our community between those who understand and get it and those that hear it probably would have left back. Right? So I'll say it like this. This is something that a lot of people will understand when I make this statement. If you didn't understand the halftime, you watched the Super Bowl just like I did.
Yes, I did.
You watched the performance, right?
Turn this TV off.
If you didn't get it, then you don't get it. Right. Exactly. So I gotta meet people where they are, right? And make them understand again. The comments you make are counter to the culture and also counter to our progression. So you gotta teach them those things, right?
And like I said, we're talking about Black history, we're talking about education. You were an educator. The convicted felon, an adulterer in the White House, wants to get rid of the Department of Education.
Wow.
As an expert on education. And
I wouldn't say expert, but I know what I know.
Someone who knows more than the person that's president.
Exactly.
What's the impact on all of our communities if we lose the Department of Ed?
You can't lose the Department of Education. It was started like in 1978. There are many people that have been trying to get rid of the Department of Education, but they provide a very good service. A lot of the services that we have for our Title I schools, children who are in need, school lunch programs, a lot of that money comes from the federal government. So we cannot get rid of it, but I do not believe we need to get rid of the Department of Education. That's not gonna fly.
And before I let you get out of here, because you got a lot going on, you're a busy man, you got meetings, and you're doing your part.
Yep.
Last question I want to ask you. How do you pick your suits? Because I'm somebody.
You funny dude. I
don't think that I'm like the best dressed.
Right.
But I think I can dress.
Right. You ain't worried. You can walk in any place and feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Right?
And I look at you and I'm like, ooh, okay. I think I might be able to pull that off. How do you pick out like this is what I'm rocking today?
Okay. I dress the way I feel.
Okay.
Honestly, I dress the way I feel. How I feel today. So I feel like putting on something. A lot of people come up here and we talk about dress. There's flashy and there's classy. I like to stay classy and shine just a little bit.
Yeah.
Classy and put my cut on it. You know what I mean? So I pick my suits like that. That's how, and not just my suits, just what I wear every day. It's based on how I feel. Sometimes, I get up in the morning, keep it real. It depends on music I'm playing when I'm in the shower. I might be gospel on one night. It might be 90s hip hop. Yeah. It might be, some crunk music, It depends on how I feel that morning. But you do a good job too, brother.
I try.
Keep doing it.
I try.
Good having me here, man.
I appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely.
Taking the time. I know you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And man, best of luck the rest of the session.
Appreciate it. All right. Thanks.
Yep.
Good job, man. We knocked that out in one turn.
Knocked that out in one take.
That was easy.
All right. Make sure your mic is off. I'm about to wrap up the show.
I ain't gonna cuss if I do. They ain't like they haven't heard me first before.
I got a button. I can bleep it. That's our show. Thanks for watching the Capital Dispatch podcast. If you listened, thanks for listening to the Capital Dispatch podcast. Again, don't drink bleach. Don't listen to Donald Trump. He's crazy. See you guys next week.